This segment made me want to pull my hair out. This is MSNBC. This is Chris Hayes' show. Now, he's talking to two people who I like. Look, I like these people. Ed Markey, Ro Khanna. These are good. These are, as far as politicians go, these are some of the better politicians in the country, okay? But they're going to have a conversation here about Build Back Better and Joe Manchin. And it makes me want to shove my nuts in a waffle iron. Take a look.
The climate portion of the bill, the $500 billion, already went through a kind of like Manchin washing, where a bunch of stuff that he objected to got taken out, including things that I really support. I think both of you support. The clean energy standard got taken out. I think we should have it in. But you know what? You can't get a vote for it. You can't get a vote for it. Congressman Khanna, do you agree with this strategy?
I do, Chris. Let me just say, because I rarely am on with Senator Markey, no one has done more for the climate in the entire Senate or House than he has. But climate will be the foundation for what we come up with. It's going to be about $500 billion. As you said, Senator Manchin is on board with that. It will be the largest investment in climate that the United States government has ever made. My view is, and I have a good relationship with Senator Manchin, let's give him a chance to say what he is for. I think he's going to be for not just climate, but universal preschool. He's actually for raising taxes on some of people who are wealthy. He's for negotiating on prescription drugs. I think he can come up with something that will have the consensus, support of the president, support of House progressives. And we should give him that opportunity. And frankly, we should do it with respect. I mean, going and attacking him isn't going to get you the 51 votes.
I couldn't agree more. I'm agreeing. We're now all agreeing with each other, which is slightly disappointing because I was all ready to argue with both of you. But I do think, I mean, I guess this is, everyone's gotten religion on this because I think that, look, the strategy here, Senator Markey, was we're going to outline this thing and we're going to get Manchin and Sinema to come along. And, you know, you can't invent leverage over a person that you don't have.
But you do have leverage. That's the point. You absolutely have leverage, but you have to be willing to use that leverage, and that takes balls. And that takes commitment to the things that you're fighting for. And I don't think that commitment is there in any serious way from Joe Biden. Maybe to one or two of the provisions of his bill, it is there, but not for the entire bill. That's for damn sure. So what was the leverage? Look, I've said this. I've given this rant so many times. I'm so tired of giving this rant, and you guys are probably tired of hearing it, but say along with me. They're talking about Joe Manchin. His daughter is a criminal. She was involved in price fixing for pharmaceuticals. They have her caught on emails, dead to rights, saying, look, how do we come up with a rationalization to jack this price up? Because that's what we're going to do. I mean, she's basically out there saying, I, Joe Manchin's daughter, love committing crimes. Here I'm going to outline the crimes I will commit. Biden had that leverage. He has that leverage. He has the leverage of the Intercept article, Joe Manchin's Dirty Empire, where he's profiting off of dirty energy at the same time he's on the committee that determines what we're going to do on climate change. You don't think that there are skirting of rules and regulations in his conflicts of interest there? Of course there are. Of course, you have leverage over these people, but he doesn't want to use it because it's impolite and it's not civil and it's dirty politics. But guess what? Biden didn't start the dirty politics. He'd be responding to the dirty politics and the corruption of Manchin and Sinema. So the thing he could have done is said, hey, look, here's the situation. I got Merrick Garland going crazy over there, and he's investigating you, and he's going to take you down, dog. He's going to take your family down. But maybe I could talk him off the ledge, but you're going to have to do me this favor. You're going to have to vote for this legislation in its original form. And by the way, if you do that, I'm going to sweeten the pot for you, too. I'll make you a hero. I'll make you a hero. You want a statue built to you in West Virginia? Done. We'll do it. You want more infrastructure money for West Virginia as part of this legislation? Done. You're going to be an absolute superstar. You want to be in my administration? You want somebody else in your family in my administration? Done. Say the word. I will be your best friend. So you're giving it, look, it's a wink and a nod, and it's mafia politics, but it's like, I'll be your best friend or your worst enemy. I'm going to make you an offer you can't refuse. And guess what? He wouldn't have been able to refuse that offer. And then if he does say no, well, then you make his life a living hell. You run ads on West Virginia on TV calling him corrupt Joe Manchin, outlining all of his conflicts of interest and his corruption and the bribery. You run ads again, bring his daughter up in the ads. I don't care. Go after him. They don't do the right thing, they become public enemy number one. I would wage a vicious, brutal public campaign against him. And by the way, at the time these negotiations started, Biden had over a 50% approval rating. He was way more popular than Joe Manchin because he just cut $1,400 checks to everybody. He could have used that leverage. The bill itself was very popular when you look at the individual provisions, and Biden himself at the time was very popular when they started these negotiations. They squandered all of it. All of it. And now the response from MSNBC is, well, gosh, I think that maybe you should be nicer to Joe Manchin. How? How could you be nicer to him? They've epitomized that strategy, guys, and it's gotten us nowhere. Every step of the way. There were reports that Joe Biden would call Joe Manchin JoJo in their meetings. JoJo. He's a backslapping politician. That's what Joe Biden is. And he followed what you're recommending to a T, and it got them nowhere. It got them worse than nowhere. We've got nothing through. So now the brilliant idea on MSNBC that's endorsed by the left flank of our elected officials like Ro Khanna is, look, just let Manchin write his own bill. Well, if you were gonna take that position, why do we go through all this bullshit in the first place? Why do we draft the original Build Back Better legislation? Why do we have these giant negotiations with the different wings of the party? Why did you do any of that? If this is where you were going to go, why not on day one go right to Joe Manchin and hand him a piece of paper and say, you make the bill and then we'll pass it? If you're going to be honest, if you're going to be upfront, if you think that's enough, Ro Khanna and Ed Markey and Chris Hayes, why did we go through all this bullshit? Why do we waste all this time? You bring the paper right up to Manchin and say, go ahead, write us your bill, and then we'll pass it. The argument that they're making is for weakness. This is the argument that they're making here. The argument that they're making is the Democratic Party is only as good as its most conservative member, Joe Manchin. Okay, well, if that's your take, then be honest. Because Joe Manchin, in one of the legislative sessions, he voted 60% with Donald Trump. So your argument, this isn't me speaking, this is you speaking, the Democratic Party is 60% Donald Trump. That's your argument. That's what you believe. Now, I personally believe we can do a hell of a lot better than that. We can do a lot better than more than half Donald Trump. That if you play politics right, if you play politics aggressively, if you use strength, if you use your leverage, if you're intelligent and strategic, you could usher in a new FDR-type presidency. And everybody who compared Biden to FDR needs to be launched out of a cannon directly into the sun. Because how wrong were all these people? Their argument is be nicer to Joe Manchin. That's how we get what we want. Well, Biden was as nice as could possibly be every step of the way. He epitomized the strategy that you're arguing for, and you're pretending like it could have positive results when we know it gave us the exact opposite. You're wrong. Own the fact that you're wrong. This is historic, pathetic weakness from these Democratic politicians. Now, there are some who are employing this argument cynically because they never wanted better things to get through. I don't think that's the case for Ro Khanna and Ed Markey. I think they wanted a more robust bill. But they've been ideologically cucked into thinking weakness is the only way. And that's the problem with the left, the elected left, is that they've been gaslit 1,000 ways to Sunday, and they've now internalized this idea that all we could ever have is softball, pretty please politics. And this was the thing that Justice Democrats was supposed to fix, and it didn't because they didn't do the proper strategy and they weren't committed to it. And so here we are. Here we are. The argument is be nicer to Joe Manchin. Yeah, that was the problem. Everybody was too mean to Joe Manchin. That was the problem. If you really think that, I got a bridge to sell you. Ever since Adpocalypse, when YouTube defunded all independent news and politics overnight, we haven't trusted them. We know they can pull the rug out from underneath us at any time. If you enjoy this content, please consider tipping $1 or $2 per month on the Secular Talk Patreon. Link in the video description box below. Thanks for your support.